Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for this particular session was the cloud and related technologies for PSUs and the government, business. Now, of course, in the beginning, Renu has already mentioned, she has given a comparison, a case study, how the cloud ensures better return on investments. And of course, it's common sense. When the resources are common, it's bound to ensure a better return on investments to all the stakeholders. Now, one of the major things which come out of this are the managed services. The all public sector enterprises, as you are aware, there are a lot of them, and more than 50% of the Indian economy is controlled by the public sector itself. And if all the public sector enterprises have managed service model, which can be a centralized model, and nobody need to duplicate resources, there is a lot of synergy possible in the public sector enterprises, whether it's delivery of software as a service, infrastructure as a service, or platform as a service. It's possible to do that, and in fact we are already offering this service to a number of PSUs. We are also offering the e-tendering platform, which ensures complete transparency in the procurement sector. And as rightly pointed out by the earlier speakers, all the client PSUs, they have a choice whether to sort of continue with the service if they are satisfied, or discontinue if they are not happy with the service. So this is a big departure from the past, when you used to get stuck to your investments and you have to live with it, whether it's serving your purpose or not. Besides this, for PSUs which are involved in various operations like oil and other sectors, Internet of Things, machine-to-machine communication, that also in the cloud infrastructure, it's possible to have SCADA systems based on those and leverage on the common resources. It will be much cheaper for the various public sector enterprises, and they can invest their surplus money elsewhere wherever they need. So this cloud infrastructure is going to be a game changer in the country. Besides that, the banking sector, there are a lot of public sector banks also involved, and our population in the rural areas, which is more than 70% in 637,000 villages. So if we are to ensure financial inclusion, the only way to do it is through infrastructure which is common, and coupled with that, there is a scheme by the government called the National Optical Fiber Network, which ensures connectivity, because for any cloud infrastructure, connectivity is an important thing. And if you reach all these villages and ensure financial inclusion, then only we'll be able to remove this digital divide. Then besides that, most of the PSUs also need training. They need to train their people from time to time, and it's quite an expensive proposition bringing all of them to one location and then training them. So instead, it can happen online, and they would be able to leverage on a common infrastructure so far as the education part and the training part is concerned, and result in a lot of saving and optimal utilization of resources. Also, there is another challenge that some of the PSUs are located in major metros. If they have their infrastructure in these metros, it's going to cost much more. So if we have a decentralized approach, as is envisaged, it is possible that they can save on the real estate cost. That is one of the major reasons that cloud technology is proving to be a boon. Coming to the government sector, there are endless possibilities so far as the government is concerned, starting with the education sector itself. There are so many IITs, so many NITs, so many engineering colleges running into maybe thousands, and now there is a proposal by the government to set up IITs in all the state governments, have IIMs everywhere. Now, the tendency right now is to have your own kitchen. Everybody would have its own library. Every institution would have its own faculty. Now, it is possible with this particular infrastructure to share all this, because you need not have a centralized, you can say, digital library. You can have a decentralized one. Every institution specializing in a particular faculty, all those resources can be accessible to everybody throughout the country. And once a network like NOFIN is in place, even from a remote village, there is no reason why a villager would not be able to access the libraries of IIT Delhi, for that matter. And it is possible to do with this infrastructure. And also delivery of content, and have virtual classrooms, like we have established a virtual classroom setup over 48 countries in Africa working with India. And there is no reason why it cannot be replicated within the country itself. Online examination system, and also in these educational institutions, there is a possibility of collaborative research, which is possible. There are, some institutions which have strength in a particular area, while others in some other. So in a collaborative way, their miracles can be performed instead of being in silos. So there is a great potential in that. Coming to the second sector is the health sector. There also the potential is tremendous. Right now, as I mentioned, 637,000 villages, and we don't have 637,000 doctors to take care of the villages alone, which is, as I mentioned, 70% of the population. So how do we do it? Again, leveraging technology, using these common resources, having a call center in a main location in a state, and then having paramedics equipped with various instruments, which in a collaborative mode with the doctors at the call center, which are manned round the clock, it's possible to provide some semblance of service to all the villagers. Now, in this particular case, this common infrastructure can be delivered through cloud, and it's not something which is on paper. It's been tried in Orissa and is a very successful model over there, and there are many organizations internationally who feel that it can be replicated in most of the developing nations where there's a shortage of the health infrastructure. It is also possible with this to have a centralized citizen health records, to provide mobile, as was mentioned by the previous speaker, for even the villagers. They'll be able to have a lot of interactive possibilities for their health services. And also, it's possible to control fake drugs. This is a major challenge the country is faced with. Even the exporters of drugs from India are facing this challenge. In one of the telemedicine conferences organized by WHO in Ghana, I was asked a question. Yes, it all looks beautiful, Pan-Africa and all that, but why are you selling us fake drugs from India? I had no answer, nor did the ambassador of India, who was present in that particular meeting, have any answer. When I came back to India, I came to know that it's a major challenge. These fake drugs, made in India drugs, are not manufactured in India, but they are manufactured elsewhere, maybe in China, and they get money and we get a boot. This is one area which can be handled if this whole cloud infrastructure is in place for the government. Besides that, e-governance is a major application. As all of us are aware, we need to be proud as Indians. But the fact remains that we are one of the most corrupt nations in the world. This is really sad. And all this can change if this whole infrastructure can be leveraged properly. We are aware that there are 2 states in India, bordering somewhere in the west. You will guess the names. At the common border point, the equal amount of revenue is collected from each vehicle. So if you go theoretically, the amount of revenue collected in both the cases should be equal, but it is not. It's not. The difference in revenue collection is about 500 crores a year. And what's the reason for that? Reason for that is a complete IT infrastructure is in place for one state, where at the capital, every hour, any person sitting there can know how much revenue has been collected from that particular joint, that particular post. Whereas in the other one, it's all computerized, but it's not as you can say fully IT enabled system, wherein anybody can monitor from the remote location. Besides this, we are aware about land records, digitization, Aadhaar, passport, driving license. All these things can happen, and even communication with the citizens, which is of course one major area. We see that our new Prime Minister is also quite savvy so far as the social media is concerned and communicating with the citizens. And this can happen even down up to the village level when every such type of infrastructure is possible. And with all these things, it's possible for the government also to save on resources. Crime and criminal tracking system that can be enabled fully in the country if this whole infrastructure is in place. Similarly, water resource management, energy management, smart grids, smart metering, all, and one more important section, that is the SME section. The SMEs, there are people who contribute to the national economy in a big way, but at the same time, there are some of them, may not be all of them, who evade taxes. In Delhi also, most of us are aware that if you go to a shop and say that, you give me this, he'll say, okay, it's 100 rupees. But if you ask for the receipt, he'll say it's 120. So that's what happens, and this money doesn't go into government coffers. But if government ensures that there is a mandatory ERP system for all the SMEs and everybody has to go through that for all their billings, which happens in many of the countries abroad, it is possible that all this extra revenue, which just goes in, gets converted into black money, also comes back into the country. So there are endless possibilities, and of course cash transfer to the citizens. In the previous scheme we have seen, when this Manrega was introduced, people were quite enthusiastic. 560 lakh crores have been pumped into the rural economy, but has it really helped people? Farmers are still committing suicide. So ensuring a proper cash transfer for people in a structured way is essential, not throwing money like this. So anyway, there are many things that can be done, and this was some of the things I just wanted to sum up. Thank you very much.